Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose. Actually, it says I'm Phillip Mountrose. I'll change that in a minute. we have two Phillip Mountroses here. Anyhow, I'm here with my wonderful friends, co-host, companions, Dr. Phillip Mountrose and Gretchen Comer. And we're all spiritual coaches, healers, and guides with great joy, reaching into the vast realms of spirit, which we're going to do today, enriching our lives and opening to more love and light for ourselves and for our world. This week, we're going to reach into a more expansive reality than the one where most people are finding themselves with awakening to your magnificence. And of course, for us to get together, awakening to our magnificence. As we move into the holiday season and open to the blessings of the year ahead, it's an opportunity to focus on who we really are and how we can embrace our most magnificent selves as we're entering the new year. Really exciting, actually, thinking of it that way. So we're going to explore where we're going spiritually and what might be possible in what we also call the next new frontier for humanity. So we'll have a nice lively conversation, a special meditation to take a deeper look. And as usual in the circle, who knows where we're going to go. A lot of times it ends up in a place that we had never expected. So that's, I think, one of the fun things about it. So as always, before we begin, I want to thank you for joining us. And I have to find my, oh, this is kind of odd. It's not, the chat box just has a kind of a monster on it. There's something not quite right. I'm not able to see the chats right now, so maybe let me try going back to it. No, something odd there. Anyhow, I won't be able to say hello to you because all I have is a monster in my chat box. We'll just have to go with that for today. But I do want to thank everyone who comes to join us because we recognize you for being devoted to love and light and making a positive difference in the world. And of course, that's why we're all here. So thank you for joining. Before we begin, also, I want to take a moment just to breathe. We generally do this just taking a few beautiful breaths of love and light from the universe, whatever is most beautiful to you and perfect for this moment. And letting go, releasing of anything you don't need right now. And what this does is brings us more in the moment together. One more. It feels so good. So welcome. And I'd like to start then with you, Phillip, and ask you to share a little bit about your perspective on this topic.
And the topic being awakening to your magnificence, which, for some people that might be a little bit intimidating to say magnificent, what, and we need to enlarge our thinking and feeling and seeing to view ourselves from a bigger perspective. Yes, from a normal everyday self, we're one person among billions on a planet. And in the past, people were much more asleep, much more unaware that we are connected with a great, wonderful, universal, cosmic creation called the oneness in Greek philosophy, the source. And the veil is lifting. And it's there in technology where virtual reality and AI is making things very transparent. And that transparency is a metaphor and also occurring with us on the other side while we're here. So we can see our bigger, more magnificent self as a piece of the creator and manifesting that through us. And that's where it's magnificent, because when we surrender and open channel our higher selves and the universe, we do become magnificent because we're part of everything. It's very awesome. It's very humbling and expanding at the same time.
Right. And we are really genuinely masters in the making. We recognize that there are enlightened beings around us, angels, archangels, and view them as being in a completely different category than we are, when actually we just don't fully recognize who we are. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the more magical parts of it, is that we can start to embrace that and bring that light into our, well, energetically into our field and into our sense of reality.
Absolutely. I wanted to add that, we have proof that we're magnificent. We're unique. Everyone is unique. And there's no one like you. There's no one like me. There never has been, and there never will be. And I feel like that's kind of the proof that we are magnificent. I mean, just imagine by design how incredible that is for each of us to be so beautifully different and unique. And where we are connected, like Philip was saying, we are also our whole person. Um, we don't have to live through someone else to understand our magnificence. We can tap into that and understand that in different ways, and how that affects us, and what that means to us as individuals as well. So we're individually beautiful and whole, but we're also part of the larger collective, essentially. And so we're
Right.
magnificent. We're magnificent alone, and we're magnificent together. So it's really beautiful. Kind of understanding of this, and how much of a blessing it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, everything changed for me a few years ago. And a lot of people who know us know this story. I tell it all the time. When Archangel Metatron came to me and told me that it was time to open to to a more expansive reality of what is actually here, and that's the fact that we are here. There are actually three kingdoms here. There's the ensouled kingdom like us, and then there are the angels, and the nature kingdom, um, and all of them are co-creating and co-connecting. We all have a connectedness, and when we intentionally start to connect, particularly in terms of going into the higher realms with them, with the archangels, and connecting with the ascended masters, and there are the divas and magnificent beings in the elemental kingdom too, the like the heads of the four elements, the Elohim, and a lot of really amazing elemental spirits.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to share this quote with Gretchen beforehand, and I didn't get to it, but I have it on my computer because I've been looking at it recently. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. This is Albert Einstein. And I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen that quote until just recently. And it's true. It's also true. It's true looking deeper into our own realms, and the realm of the angels, who are, all of these beings are reaching to us to communicate with us. And in terms of the next new frontier for humanity, I believe this is it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that opportunity that we have to recognize that we're here with all those beings, and to make them part of our daily lives, which I think the three of us have all done. Gretchen,
Mm-hmm.
we were just talking about it before we started. I can't imagine my daily life without them. They're they have been integrated into my life, and I think, and it's not to say that that's complete either, but it's a magical experience. I think it completely changes your perspective on reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really need that in this time, sometimes called this time of the multi-crises. Things are becoming very contrasted, that people need to step up and do something about it, sometimes called shining your light, which is an interesting phrase, shining your light. What is your light? Well, that's your gifts and talents and God-given gifts and talents, and connecting with the angels like we're doing here today, and bringing that into your daily life to make the world a different place. So what the reality for more and more people is one filled with your soul and higher dimensions and kindness and love and higher qualities and creative solutions.
Right. Yeah. And this might be a good time just to invite Archangel Metatron in so we can feel the energy. And this is, I think, a place to start if you haven't started. And I realize a lot of people already are doing these things, which is great, because I think we're bringing that into our energetic kind of bubble that we're in here and helping to raise the consciousness for everyone. And it also is, I think, connecting with them. You have to have a pure heart to begin with, and a pure intention of connecting with light and truth and wisdom. And beyond that, it's just a matter of opening to it. And if you want to close your eyes, if you're in a place where you can do it, we can just close our eyes for a moment and just ask Archangel Metatron to join us. He's known to be one of the archangels who is closest to God. And if you ask him to bless us with an outpouring of light from him, if that's what you wish, and this is something that it helps us to integrate this light by inviting it from these wonderful angels who are beings of pure love. Just asking him to surround you with that beautiful, it's often experienced as a luminous white light, very pure white light. You can feel it around yourself. And then just invite it to be flowing through your body. And what that can do is also to help to clear out some of the rubble that might be there. Because what we want is to have a clear space within us for divine energy to flow. And you might sense an image of him or see an image of him. You might just feel the energy. You might have a knowingness. I think Phillip often experiences these beings with a knowingness, and maybe a communication from him. Maybe he has something that he wants to tell you right now.
Yeah,
just a short message.
What I'm experiencing is the energy of Metatron, which I tend to see as sort of a white light, sort of a hazy, gentle, floating light. And then the words is just connecting with an energy and letting my voice and mind open up to have messages come through. So that's what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can all become a vehicle of light and love. It is only a matter of intending to do so. As you open your heart, the world becomes completely different. A wonderful merry-go-round, a circus of lights and colors and sounds. And some of them are not so good, as you know, and some of them are very beautiful. And where the world is not so pretty, you can send some beauty and love and artistically shift that energy with an open heart to see a better world, a better life, from person to person, from moment to moment, starting right now, as in the now, right now. And as you open your heart, the world becomes a different place to live through more beauty and love and truth.
Right. It's beautiful. And it is that we need to approach them with an open heart. And as we open our hearts, then we receive more. Gretchen, do you want to share anything about your experience?
I just kept hearing it doesn't serve to play small. It doesn't, own your magnificence, that you're part of the divine. You have that divine spark. And it's okay to let your light shine. You don't have to feel unworthy. The very fact that you have this beautiful divine spark within you really proves that you are worthy. That's what I felt.
Right.
Like it doesn't serve us to play small. So it's about owning our magnificence.
Exactly. Thank you.
Good way to
And
say it.
thank you, Metatron, for joining us. And we invite you to stay with us for the remainder of our time together, to help us to lift our vibration, so we can come back to our normal states. And I think that is a really important point about all of this, is the more you connect with these beings, it does raise your vibration in a way that you can't really know without experiencing it. I mean, their love is so deep and so divine. I mean, just when I think of it, it's just breathtaking. And of course, Metatron is just one of many angels, archangels, who are reaching out to us. And of course, we have our own guardian angels and other angels around us, and other masters and many beings around us. And when we open to them to be part of our reality, then we enter into a completely different place. And we don't have to be where the mass of humanity is, suffering and fighting and angry and bitter and feeling like we have to fight for everything, when actually the world and the universe itself is so abundant.
Mm-hmm.
And the blessings are here for us. We just have to open ourselves so that we're good receivers of it.
Absolutely. I feel like part of it too, in stepping away from the mass consciousness, in owning our magnificence, is just to look inside and feel some self-compassion and self-awareness when you're maybe reviewing your life or reflecting. This time of year, we've been talking a lot about reflection on life, and I think if we can find that little spark within us, we can connect with it. We can remember that we're always connected, that we always have that support. And then when we're not feeling that support, we just need to reconnect. It doesn't have to be difficult or challenging. It can just be a simple request. It can be just expressing gratitude for all of the spiritual support that you do receive. And it really helps that light inside us shine brightly. It shines out brighter. It's like cleaning the lens,
Right.
a little bit. So
right. Yeah. Maybe even changing the color, like that idea of being, having whatever kinds of lenses.
Yeah, and when we're in those darker places, as Gretchen was saying, just a little shift is really all it takes from moment to moment. It could be breathing, it could be looking at nature, it could be going for a walk, it could be reading something that uplifts you or hearing something. And that's where it starts, because I find if you can let sort of the darkness come in and it seems overwhelming and everywhere, and you can certainly find it if you look for it, which when you're in a negative place, you tend to do so. But that little shift, that little step of owning your magnificence can be very small, but profound and transformative.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it brings me also to, I think something that's very important to talk about is when I started connecting, after Archangel Metatron connected with me and suggested that I start actually making those conscious attempts to connect with the angels, etc. Some of my thinking, which was, I think, partly unconscious, and at a certain point became very conscious for me, was that I wasn't sure I deserved that, or that they would not want to communicate with me first. It's kind of like, and it is that place of, it's kind of, I think, what I would really view as the original sin. Kind of the Adam and Eve idea is that eating the apple. Actually, the original sin is is going from a place where we recognize we're divine to a place where we feel like we're flawed. Like I'm not deserving, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or whatever it is, however we say it. Some people, I know from working with people personally and in programs that we've done over the years, a lot of people feel because of the things that have happened in their lives that they've been abandoned by God. And so they've, cut them off completely from the higher realms. And that's part of it. Part of the journey, I think, is to remember they honor us for the beings we're becoming. They see us as the beings we're becoming. And in fact, we actually know some of them from past lives, probably. And I'm starting to recognize that now. And I think with that, when you're particularly drawn to one of the archangels or one of the masters, whatever it is, I would pursue it, because it often means that you have a connection with them that you don't know about, that you're here to develop. And that's really exciting to me.
Yeah. And that's where it's going. And we're in this very technological, scientific age that's the prevailing norms and what is considered real or normal. But when it's converging with the spiritual, which is really the higher realms and what the science integrates into, so science isn't the final realms, it's part of a bigger story, a bigger wisdom and being. When they converge and we do things like connecting with angels and having these kinds of discussions, then amazing things do happen. Even science is seeing that too in quantum physics.
Right. Yeah.
Miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from another realm, miracles is probably the everyday life for Metatron and the ascended masters. What we consider a miracle, they consider, that's reality.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And that it actually, that's, I think, when you look at the idea of manifesting, or what in elemental kingdom terms, precipitating, like that idea we've all heard of, like Sai Baba holding out his hand, and all of a sudden, he manifests a piece of jewelry or something.
Mm-hmm.
that is possible for us, but we're not in a place where we can receive. So we're learning. That's what we're learning, that the blessings are all here for us, and it's just for us to actually awaken to the possibility that that's our reality. We live in a reality where we can have blessings, all the blessings that really are available to us.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to add too that I think while we're learning, if we feel those lower emotions, if we can bring our awareness to that moment, we can say, well, not only explore why you're feeling that way, but you can also say, all right, let's shift this, because it becomes almost like when you start to feel those things, it becomes like a marker, and you can say, all right, this is a good point to pause. Why do I feel like this? But once you understand why you're feeling like that, to immediately call in your spiritual support, and it will change your perspective. It will help you get to that higher place that you need to be. So when we're starting to feel like we're unworthy, or we're feeling any of those feelings about our personal value, that's a good indicator to take another look at that, and then immediately invite in. Even if you don't understand it in that moment, you can call in spiritual support to help you gain more clarity, to help you gain more focus and understanding that. And I think that's where we can make that perspective shift very quickly, if we can just become more aware of it. So it's part of the learning process, and it's ongoing.
Right. And it is, you could call it a practice. I guess that's the idea of a spiritual practice. We have to practice being in this more expansive reality for it to begin to really exist for us.
Right.
And Buddy likes it. This is our little dog Buddy, who he loves more expansive realities.
He's in
says,
his own
I'm
little
open.
higher state.
He just kind of sits blissfully in my lap.
Yeah. And that's, as Gretchen was saying, the idea is to try to attune yourself through these practices in the show like this and circle, or our Awakenings Institute, we have a new spiritual guide program to put you more aligned in that place every day. And then when you're off, it usually becomes pretty apparent pretty quickly, wouldn't you say?
I
And
think
then
more and more, right?
more and more, you
Mhm.
you don't go fall off the wagon, so to speak, so much. And as we were saying, just simple what things can get you back and connected in the more elevated, expansive place.
Right. You get a little kiss here.
You get a kiss from your dog if you do so.
They're such beautiful, loving beings. My buddy. Yes, you are. It's
So should we
beautiful.
do our meditation then?
Yeah, yeah. Why don't we go ahead and do a meditation?
The Awakening to Your Magnificence meditation.
Of
I'll
course.
probably bring in Metatron as we do it and see what
Wonderful.
Jane and Gretchen pick up and what those watching. And hey, hi, Babs. Good to see you
Oh, you
here
can see
today.
people. I can't. I still can't see people. I just have a little
Okay.
monster.
Anyways,
It says no internet, which is kind of crazy because we're here.
Yeah.
We're communicating
we
over the
are
internet.
communicating.
So just this monster
Anyway.
taking over.
Yeah. So we can, if you want, you can close your eyes to relax and go into a more peaceful place, just letting things go and just calming down with your breath, breathing in pure, clear energy through your nose, slowly releasing. And as you continue to breathe in this pure, clear energy, your body becomes more and more relaxed, knowing that it has access to a wonderful state, a wonderful place, as your body makes any adjustments to open up. And as your body opens up, you may begin to see a different place, a different energy, a different feeling coming in, a wonderfully expansive, an energy which is embracing and loving, an energy which is filled with light and an open heart. And as you connect more deeply with this energy, it is your magnificence. It is your connection to Source, God, and oneness, and everything and everyone at every time and in every moment. It's always there, and it's always here now. And as you breathe that in, you may feel yourself transported somewhere or just have a sense or an energy of light, love. Your heart is opening, embracing. And you know this magnificence is your true right, your true inheritance, your true way of being. And you can remember it right now and carry it forward. It's a place where you can manifest miracles and healings. You can get wonderful insights and wisdoms and channelings, blessings abound, and much more. And if Jane or Gretchen wants to share, they can know what they're experiencing.
Gretchen, you want to share?
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually above the planet. I feel like I'm in outer space, kind of this place where everything begins, you know, like at the beginning in this formless place, but it feels like there's all this potential. There's just all of this beautiful energy around that we can pull into our being, that we can pull into our lives. And that's what I'm feeling right now, is just this potential of all these different resources that maybe we haven't considered, that are out there in this place of all creation. And once I moved away from the earth, I felt just a lightening of spirit. I felt less of that kind of heavy earth energy that sometimes keeps us a little too immobile. There is such a thing as being too grounded, which I actually have a tendency to become a little too grounded. And sometimes I need to be more like a tree rather than the boulder that's sitting. So that's good for me to understand too, and just to remind myself that there is all this potential, and to not be limited by what we're experiencing here in our everyday, that there actually is more once we expand out.
Right. And what this also has reminded me of when I first started introducing myself to angels, and we have a process that we use to help us to connect with angels, and masters and beings of light. That I started going through that every day, connecting with different angels. And one of the angels I was very um, drawn to, who is actually here today. I just want to bring him in too because he's been so instrumental for me, and that is Archangel Raziel. And he's known as the magician of the archangels and one of the most joyful of them. So if you're feeling down, he's a good one to invite to join you. So you can now, if you are open to it, just invite him to surround you with a rainbow of Raziel's vibrant light. I experience it as sparks of all different colors all around me. It may be however you experience it is perfect for you. And we can invite the energy to surround us, and also, as I mentioned with Metatron, to invite it into the cells of our bodies to help to lighten up all of our being. So with Raziel, I imagine just allowing the cells to take in the colors that are perfect for them. What I've found is when I imagine the cells, inviting them to receive love, like maybe a little heart or colors of the rainbow, I start to feel my body is tingling. I can feel it now, just with delight, actually. And Raziel is a delightful angel and also a very mystical. He's also known as the guru of the of the angels. He's very mystical and wise. And I sense he's saying that he wants us to know that he is here to lighten up our lives, because that whole illusion of separation and of suffering, of the need for suffering, um, is just that. It's an illusion, and we can, in this moment, in any moment, open to joy and love as our reality. And this is so much what the angels bring. So just experience what that's like for you. And maybe he has a special message individually for you. So just allow, open and allow. We don't have to make it anything. We can just allow it to be what it is, and open to what it is, because it's magical.
Yes, Raziel's saying that life can sometimes be like a joyride.
That's a good idea.
Enjoy the ride.
Right. It's true. That idea of life is what you make it. We can see it in such different ways. And I loved it, Gretchen, when you were talking about rising above the planet and feeling that freedom, because I think that kind of an image for those who are visual, or just sensing yourself free from all of the ties, like you were saying, you can be grounded and then you can be too grounded. When we free ourselves of all of that, we can just feel ourselves flowing freely in the universe. We can get a different perception of ourselves and our magnificence. It's like, why do we have to perceive ourselves as lowly beings with very little potential on planet Earth, when we are each of us uniquely magnificent?
Mm-hmm.
Not like anyone else. And here, because of that, because we have something unique to bring.
And those who are watching this, if they have a sense of their magnificence opening up, they can share that if they want in the comment box, or just in their own mind, or make a mental note of your own magnificence and how to carry that throughout the day.
Yes. So we ready to come back, Philip?
We are ready to come back. I was just kind of
I guess.
hanging out there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing. It's so easy
I
that
guess.
when you get here, it's like, this is
Yeah.
pretty nice up here.
I spent 100 years up here. Wow. So we're ready to come back. I'm going to count us back, coming back to Earth in a grounded, magnificent way. 1, 2, ready to come back. 3, 4, ready to open your eyes. 5, alert, refreshed, eyes open, back in your space, more alive, more heart-centered, more light, love, and magnificence and possibilities for you now.
Thank you. I noticed as the time together has gone from where we started, I could feel a smile coming more and more onto my face. It's like now I'm just like so happy and so delighted because it's always a reminder to us of what is true.
I felt like when you called Raziel in, I felt like he was sitting beside me, kind of leaning back like he would on a couch or something. And he was looking at the world saying, look at that. Just look how beautiful that is. Look at all those lights shining, you know? So it to me, it felt like they're joyous because of us. You know, the angels love us so much that they too want to take a pause and just reflect on how beautiful it is. So it's a wonderful reminder, just what a beautiful reciprocal relationship it can be. And it's a good reminder to me too, you know, pulling back from the planet and seeing it from a distance.
Yeah,
I could really admire its beauty versus being stuck in the everyday or the things that are all of the things that go on the planet right now. So it was a good reminder just to say, look how beautiful that is, you know, look at all those lights shining out, you know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And Babs commented, I find just being aware and looking for the good and even the small things in my day keeps me in magnificence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and that's something what we have to do is take control and decide, well, I'm going to make this my reality, because the illusion of separation that we're living with and that we actually most of us were born with probably over many lifetimes, it is pretty compelling. And if you listen to the news, they'll give you lots of evidence about how bad things are. And it's not that, I think there's that idea also of having your head in the sand or whatever, of just being out there as if you're in la la land. This is embracing a frequency that is inviting all of humanity to rise up to it. If we go down in the dumps with everybody else, what's going to happen? Who's going to take us out of it?
Yeah, this is a way through. It's not an avoidance or escapism thing or ignorance is bliss. This is actually a wonderful, grounded, practical thing that you can do amidst even very challenging situations.
Right. And part of the circle, part of the purpose of the circle, the main purpose of the circle of love and light, is to broadcast love and light to the world. And you can intentionally, this is the time actually in a circle when we often talk about this, you can intentionally send love and light to places where people are suffering. And in being in this place, it also isn't one. Phillip and I have been talking about this recently with all of the conflict in the world and people killing each other by the thousands. It's not that you don't feel it; the soul feels it. And I remember reading one of the masters, writings of one of the masters, saying, all of us, we look down on the world and we feel that suffering every day, every minute. We can feel those who are calling out to us to help. And yet we have free will. They can't pull us up. They can support us as we pull ourselves up. But we have to be the people who are causing it. And I often bring out my planet. I got this at Amazon. I think I got a bunch of them at the same time. You can get planets for a very reasonable price, actually.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Popping up all over the place.
And you can just hold it and envision sending love to the world. This is the biggest contribution we can make, is helping to raise the frequency of the planet. Because that will then, I think it's kind of like a rising tide lifts all boats, that those who aren't as aware, they'll be bathed in a different light that will support them in rising further. Isn't that right, Bud? He says, I like all this talk.
I'm listening.
That would be so funny. Yes, you do. They're so wonderful to have too, these beautiful beings. Another thing I wanted to mention is I don't know if it's possible to do this alone. I have to admit, in reaching up into the higher realms and receiving information about my history and myself, there were times when I felt like I was completely berserk, like I was crazy. I can't tell anybody about all of this. And so we need each other. We need people who are like-minded, who can help us to recognize that we're not crazy. We're just seeing something that most people are not seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that path back to our magnificence is a very challenging part of it. It's like to see yourself as a master, like the masters that we so admire. It's hard. It's not easy to do. But I think the thing that has made it, I guess, easier for me is to recognize it's not me. It's not just me. It's everybody. We're all masters. We're all magnificent spiritual beings. And that's why the idea of awakening to our magnificence is very practical and doable for everybody. It's not there for the people who tell you they're special and you should follow them. Think about it. If they're asking you to open to what's possible for you, it's different from seeing them as being above you, because nobody's above anybody else. And we draw a lot on the teachings of the world's great mystery schools. And the mystery schools have always been built on a foundation of supporting people in opening to their own truth, their own understanding, their own awareness, their own growth. It's not about telling anybody like you're this or you're that, or because we were actually, Philip and I were talking about this earlier this morning. We walked the dogs and we talked. And he was telling me about someone who was working as something of a psychic with other people and telling them things about themselves. And I think we can share insights with people, but if we say, well, you are this, or you had this life and you were that, we're impressing something on someone that, in most cases, if we're someone who they rely on and believe in, then it's there, it's lodged there, and they don't understand it for themselves. So they really don't know what to do with it. And I think that's difficult, because there have been many times doing sessions with clients where people have said, well, so-and-so, I went to this psychic and they told me I did this in a past life and I'm this person and whatever. What value is that to them if they have then to ask me, well, is that true? What do they know for themselves in their hearts?
Yeah.
So that sort of takes us to why we have a spiritual guide program coming up of just trying to become your own spiritual guide,
Right.
teaching people in the tradition of mystery schools of opening your heart and finding the truth in yourself and doing spiritual practices. We do Akashic records and oracle decks, connecting with angels and masters as a way of highlighting the truth in our heart and connecting with our soul.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we use oracles often in the circle, and I use them daily, oracle cards to support me and to help me to understand things on a more personal scale and also on a larger scale. So there's so much that is there for us that to me is pretty astounding in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know, Gretchen, you have a strong connection with nature. And would you want to describe that a little bit?
Sure. Nature has kind of been my go-to since I was a child. I find that not only does it help me shift out of any kind of lower thinking or negative thinking. If I'm troubled in any way, I can find solace in nature just by going outside, spending 5-10 minutes outside, just breathing. Nature doesn't ask anything from us. It's a wonderful support system. It doesn't ask anything from us, but it gives so much with its energy and its calm and its groundedness. And there's a lot of joy in nature that we can tap into too, that just helps to raise our vibration. And I know that when I come back inside, maybe I'm in the middle of a crisis. Maybe I'm in the middle of tackling a problem. That's part of life. But we have that support system right outside our doors, right outside our windows. And if you're somebody, I often work with clients who, live in a high rise, and they said, well, I can't get outside every day. I said, then open a window and stick your head out. Go out on your balcony. There's lots
and get house plants.
Houseplants are great too. Just being able to connect with earth energy in that way. I mean, we're of earth. We were born here. We're meant to have this incarnation here and experience life here. So it makes sense to use nature as one of our support systems. And I've received so much wisdom from nature, focusing in on the microcosm when I was a kid, looking at the tiniest little things on the earth floor, in the forest floor, or climbing a tree, or just watching birds and some of their habits. I've been really excited about watching squirrels lately because they're preparing for winter and we have lots of squirrels in my area. And they're wonderful. They play, they chase each other, but yet they're doing it while they're working. So they're busily searching for nuts to bury, but they're having fun doing it. And so it brings a sense of wonderment to me. I feel like a little kid sometimes watching that, but it also reminds me that you can have fun, while you're working in life, while you're tackling problems. You can have fun. You can bring joy to that situation. So it's a wonderful reminder, and it's giving, and it's free. I mean, you can go to most places. You can go to local parks. You can go just outside in your yard. You can, like I said, stick your head out a window, go out on your balcony, breathe the season in.
Yeah, the air.
Right. If it's crisp and cold, attune with winter, allow that natural rhythm to be part of your life so that you're not fighting against that flow of life. And it just helps so much to be able to use nature in those different ways.
And it's good to be appreciative of the elementals and nature. We receive so much from them, and take it for granted. And just like the angels, to send the angels and send nature love and appreciation is a wonderful practice too.
Absolutely. So yeah, just simply going outside and saying thank you for being here as a support for me is just wonderful. And I feel that energy come back to me. If I go put my hand on the bark of a tree, that tree is happy. It's happy that I've made that connection. Not that I'm special and I have I'm a special tree guru.
It's something for all of us.
Right. But it's something that's accessible to all of us. And I think there is a lot of appreciation that nature gives back to us. We just need to open ourselves to it.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the wonderful things about nature is it's something you don't have to be actually particularly a spiritual person to experience the oneness of nature. I think that's why people so much enjoy going out into the country, and like men going out fishing and sitting in a boat all day with very little happening, but they're in that place of oneness and it doesn't matter.
Right.
We all have our own ways of being there. It's available to everybody. And it is amazing. You can also we are co-creating with the nature spirits too, whether we know it or not. They're the ones who are the builders of form, and they're building partly based on what we're thinking. Whether they like it or not, they have to do it. So when we're thinking incoherent or even damaging thoughts, we may be creating results that we have no idea about in the weather or in what's happening around us. And then on the other end of it, we can invite them to create a sacred space, even if you're in the city. Everything around you is nature. You have an elemental aspect of your own body. So we did that. We invited the nature spirits in our yard to create a sacred space all around us and everything here within in this space to make it sacred. And I can feel it. And I can feel when we go for a walk in the morning, we leave our space, and when we come back to it, I can feel it. I can feel the beautiful sacred space that they have co-created with us, which is pretty amazing to me. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to go anywhere or not very far to have these experiences with nature, with angels. Angels, they're around us already, whether we acknowledge them or not. And the blessings are really beyond belief. Which reminds me, I do want to thank Archangel Raziel and Metatron for joining us. I think just expressing our gratitude and our love for them. They appreciate that. So Gretchen, would you like to share how people can find out more about what you're doing?
Great, thank you. Great, so people can connect with me on my website, where I have my most kind of comprehensive list of programs and offerings, spiraljourney.net. Or you can connect with me here on Facebook under Gretchen Comer or Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services. And I have a free resource page that I often remind people of this time of year. If you'd like to be spiritually uplifted in some way, there's lots of free resources on there. I've also shared a lot of the Circle of Love and Light past episodes. So there's lots of things that you can go there and interact with and get for free and download. So yeah, I'd love for you to stop by.
Great.
And Phillip, do you want to share what's happening at Awakening?
Yeah, we have I've mentioned we have this new spiritual guide program, and we have a little free excerpt from the new book we created on this topic, Awakening Your Magnificence, Your Journey into the Next New Frontier for Humanity. And you can get that free opt-in at tinyurl.com/guide-intro, tinyurl.com/guide-intro. And that's going to be part of our the upcoming program on the spiritual guide certification program going to be announced.
Wonderful. And here we are. All these different things on my screen. So with that, I want to again thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate your contributions to the love and light for the world. There are a few things that you can do to support the circle. If you're on Facebook, you can follow our page. It's facebook.com/awakeningscircle. You can share the video with your friends, which will spread the light and love further. Buddy. And you can invite your friends to join you in the circle, and then you might have something to discuss, or you can together connect with the angels and beings of light. The last thing that we do every time also is send love and light out to the world. I envision from my heart just sending it out and into the week ahead. Just sending it out so that your whole week can be filled with love and light. You can send it to your past too. You can send it all around, wherever you want to send it. So have a wonderful week, and we'll hope to have you join us again next time.